Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Vets MXDN. We are live. We're just waiting for the main man to come online. He's been really busy, been let down by a sponsor, so he's sort of been trying to fund his Dakar, etc. God, can this guy we got tonight ride a bike? 5 times Enduro World Champion. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Vets MXDN. We are live. We're just waiting for... I always do this. Leave my phone on, and this happens, and I thought I turned it off. But there we go. Anyway, always do that because you can't see the comments coming up on a stream like you can on Facebook, if that makes sense. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. It's going to be a real interesting chat. The Manxman from the Isle of Man, oh, what a total legend. But let's get on with the show anyway after I messed it up with my phone again. We're so professional here on Vets MXDN. But yeah, just to get you going, we sort of start the show with a VT. So, and then we'll have the main man himself and Dave King from Vets MXDN. Five times world champion, Enduro World Champion, 4 times AMA champion, 24 British titles, British Expert Trials Champion, David Knight MBE.
Not quite, but no, that was good seeing some of that. I've never seen some of them bits before, them videos. So yeah, I was like looking, thinking, trying to remember where they were. Most of them are wet, so most of them are probably in England.
So we go back to the start of your early career, but let's get on to the main thing that's going on at the moment is your quest to do the Dakar Rally. Obviously, you had a bit of bad luck on getting to do it.
Yeah, it's something I've wanted to do for a number of years since I was a kid. Really, you know, I remember when John Deacon was racing and used to watch it on Eurosport and. I used to go down to my uncle's to watch it because we didn't have Sky Telly. Just to go and watch it on his. So absolutely. Just watching it is something when I was watching that you always think as a kid, oh, I'd love to do that. Look at that through the middle of the desert. And then I did have a couple of opportunities with KTM, like 10, 12 years ago, but I was just that concentrated and busy with what I was doing. World Championship racing in America. it sort of, the time wasn't quite right for me, I don't think. And then when I felt the time was right, I couldn't get, there was no opportunities there. So then it all come about with a ex-sponsor now. And we sort of got stuck into it, cut a long story short. Started, you know, getting finding the team. You know, I'd only do it if I found a good team that I could do it with. You know, I look at it like, I sort of explained to quite a few people. For me, it's similar to what the TT is. It's like the off-road version of the Isle of Man TT. It's something that I've wanted to do, but it's got to be right to do it. You know, you've got to make it as safe as you can, as good as you can, and not mess around with a crappy team. You know, so a lot of people mentioned Henk Helgers from HC Rally. He ran the factory Honda team. He quite a few, you know, not that long ago, really. He started that team and then went off on his own and did this Husky team. So a lot of people had said good things about him. So met up with him, and you know, a lot of people probably don't know on here, but it's sort of, if you're doing the TT, you would sort of, the perfect guy to go and do it with would be Clive Padgett. You know, been around for years, knows how to build a bike, knows, it takes away all the stress that I know myself from doing my own bikes over the years, that everything's got to be 100%. So yeah, so found him, decided to do it after quite a long thinking process, and then got stuck into it, got bikes and that here, and then last minute sort of got let down by a sponsor. So decided not to quit. I was like, you know, well, I'll knock it all in the head, but then I was like, I've gone a long way into it, got deep into it, so let's give it a shot. So yeah, that's where we are now.
You don't have to say exactly, but what sort of money does it cost to do the Dakar? Are you a privateer?
Yeah, total privateer. Like, you know, there is some rides out there that I got mentioned to me and stuff, but like I say, I want to be on a bike that I know is the best bike that you can get, which for me, outside of a factory bike, is a KTM Husky rally bike. You know, you've got your factory Hondas, your factory Yamahas, but as a privateer, there's really, that's the only option that I believe that is an option, you know, to have a bike. It's pretty much near enough a factory bike. They're bloody expensive. They're 30 grand for one of them.
So you have to buy the bike yourself?
Well, no, you can, as part of the package deal, there's options. You can buy one, or you can sort of rent it. So as part of the package, you can lease the bike for like 15 grand, or you can buy it. So that's up to you. But to do the Dakar, you're talking, with a team like Henk, to have everything, that's your backup trucks, all your parts are paid for. So if you end up smashing 20 grand's worth of gear off the bike in 2 weeks, which is quite possible, you know, that's covered. You've got spare engines, and your whole thing's there. You've got your mechanics there to do your bike. You come in the evening, you do a debrief, you give them the bike, and I go and crack on doing what I need to do, and they crack on and get the bike done. That's your tires, your mousses. So, like, for an example, for me, say it's 14 days long, the rally, so that's 28 front and rear tires, so like 14 rears, 14 fronts, and the same with mousses. So like 28 tires, 28 mousses. So it bloody adds up, and so you're talking about 100 grand to do the Dakar, you know, with your bike and stuff. And then yeah, like my budget, what we set out with the sponsor was 150 grand to do the Dakar and two, maybe 3 other rallies before, but obviously that all got cancelled with COVID. So ended up doing the one rally in Spain, which that was big money. That was like 25 grand to do that. So it's probably why I've never done it before.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how do you, you know, especially at the moment, I've seen on like Instagram, Sam Sunderland, he's out in Dubai, I guess, in the dunes, getting ready for it. How does a guy like you, I guess you're still in the Isle of Man, how do you prepare yourself? How do you prepare yourself for that?
In truth, you prepare as much as you can here, but it's not ideal. Not by a long shot. Like I went to, at the start of the year, when I got the green light off the sponsor and everything to go, we went to Portugal. I did a week's road book training out there, because I'd never even looked at a road book in my life. Didn't know a thing about it. So it's been a steep learning curve, but it's actually the part that I've enjoyed with it. But yeah, so went to Portugal, did that. Then COVID kicked off. So I just did as much sort of looking. I'd printed all the paperwork off with all the different symbols that you have for your dangers and your turns and your rocks and all that stuff. And most of it's in French, which makes it even more difficult. And I've just done that. And then when I got a bike here, a guy from Rally Moto in the UK sent me some road books over that he made for me on the Isle of Man. It's like 5 different road books. So I've been doing them, which the Isle of Man's not very big, but believe me, I can get lost still. But but it's I've only just watched the it's just popped up on Amazon in the last couple of months, when Charlie Borman had a go at it, and that must have been 10 years ago. And yeah,
it looked,
probably more.
I mean, that guy knows how to ride a long distance, but it looked like hell on earth.
Yeah, I've no expectation really. I've obviously, then everything got cancelled. So, and then the Andalusia rally. So I had to get to that to qualify. So we scratched about, and then a guy from a classic car club in Manhattan, that's what it's called, Classic Car Club Manhattan. He come on board, and pretty much, and another couple of sponsors of mine, Elas in the Isle of Man, and a few other boys threw some money in, and we got to that. So that kept it alive. Then that was like, right, there's still a slight little chance that I can get there. And I had a girl in England flat out on the PR side trying to get sponsors, but you know, I think in a normal year we would have been fine. You know, I think because of the COVID thing, everyone's obviously tightening the belts up and panicking a little bit, and which you can totally understand. So it just made it nearly impossible to get the sponsors and stuff in. But the rally in Spain I really enjoyed it. It was bloody dangerous, and it was totally new for me. You know, I've never done a road book rally in my life, so that was my first one I've ever done. So we did that. Then I would have, if we had some budget, I would have went to Dubai and done some training out there, because I did some testing for KTM. I think the last time was probably about 2010, 2009, something like that. Yeah, long time ago. And I was doing like engine testing for them out in the middle of the desert in Tunisia. So other than that, that's the only time I've ever ridden in the desert. So it's obviously a dangerous place. And I've sort of, when you see them boys all out there, you know, all off them, and you're just like, it does eat at you, you know. I try not to look too much at it, because yeah, makes you a bit jealous. But yeah, I can only do what I can do. I can go there. Like, my sort of thing is just to go and use my head, and just do what I can. If I get into a good rhythm and I've got good pace, then absolutely brilliant. I'd be made up. If I'm riding around and I'm in a rhythm and I'm not on the pace, then you can't do anything else. You've just got to take it day by day, learn it, and yeah, come back in one piece.
Yeah, absolutely. When you say it's a road book, does that mean that you don't get to look at the track, but you get the notes previous to, you know, to your actual riding, and you just have to go by your notes?
Yeah, exactly. So up until last year, Dave, you got the road book the day before, so the guys would spend 3, 4, 5 hours marking it all up and colouring it in. They'd have their own colour system, so you'd colour it in, say light blue for your corners, your danger, you put red. But then last year, I think a lot of teams were cheating. I think they were like Google Earthing it and overlaying it, and I don't really understand it. It's too technical for me, but they were finding shortcuts and things instead of doing like a loop like that. They would say, "Oh, you can go straight across there."
Yeah,
and that's what was happening. So last year they decided to give you a road book 20 minutes before the start. So basically, you've got time to put it on the bike, and that's it.
Yeah.
Which for me, that's better because you've less work to do the day before. Yeah. And it's I know no different. You know, I've never had that system. So for me, it evens it out a little bit more, I think, for the privateer and the factory rider.
So when you go up, like you're 5 times world enduro champion, I would have thought, with the way the market's going as well, with like trail rides and stuff, there'd be like a main manufacturer throwing money at you for like your record, etc.
I don't know. I think it's like you ask anyone now in the sport, in motocross and enduro, anything road racing, and there doesn't seem to be any money about, or the teams are cutting right back. You know, obviously KTM and Husky and that have cut back a lot because of MotoGP. I think they deny that quite a lot, but it's, you know, you can see it, it's plain to see. Which, you know, they've got to. I think Suzuki probably the same. You know, they pulled out of motocross to put the money into MotoGP, which has worked for them because they've won. But yeah, I think it's just tight out there for everyone.
Oh,
David's in his garage. That's what you
go and put another 10p in the slot. I had that trouble. I was down to being you again.
Yeah. So no,
what have you been doing this week?
The VT actually that showed David. What a rider, Dave! You know what?
I'm more interested. I've watched some of those World Enduros recently on on the TV, and some of those tracks in France and Italy look like the best motocross track you could ever want to ride on. All natural grass. You know, they've got some good venues.
Would you like to get him to come to the Vets MXDN?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've talked many times about it. Him and his brother.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah. We've spoken many times.
And there we go. Is he back? He's there somewhere, but no camera yet.
Yeah, well, that internet's got a long way to go, the Isle of Man. It's got to go right under the water.
Yeah, like I say, I don't know whether he's raced. Obviously, I think there's 6 Western Beach races he's won. In 2018, he came 6th overall, had the quickest lap, obviously, and he'd just got over a broken back.
Yeah,
he'd been on a bike for about a year.
I don't think guys like me appreciate how hard to do, you know, what those enduro guys do. I don't think they get enough credit, and especially the rally guys who do the Dakar. So I watched that. I think it's called Race to Dakar that Charlie Borman did. I think it was actually 15 years ago. It's just popped up on Amazon. You can watch it, and it just looks an absolute nightmare. It doesn't look any fun at all. You're up at like 4 in the morning and don't get in till late at night. Hardly any sleeping in a crappy old tent, having to do all your own maintenance. It just looks like real hard work to me.
Oh, it looks like the Tinternet on the Isle of Man's playing up, or like I say, David's on a Wi-Fi and it's not great where he is. Hopefully we get David back so we can talk about his career and when he started off. But this is what happens with live TV. If anybody's got any comments they want to ask, we can bring them up on screen. Ask Dave anything. Ask me anything.
It's all right if I go as well.
Yeah. Oh, cheers. Yeah, you can
sing a song.
Right, here we go. Hopefully he's coming back. Right. Right, we're back.
That tends to happen in the Isle of Man quite a lot.
You need a bigger aerial.
I know, it's a nightmare. I've been doing these last few weeks and it keeps always happening. And My mate was down today, and he said his does the same. So it's not just me. I think it's an Isle of Man thing.
So last time I looked,
Yeah.
you're up to about 41,000. So you need about another, what's that? Another 44,000 quid to sort of go. How long's a GoFundMe going to go for?
Well, I'll just keep it running now until when I get back. I'll shut it when the rally finishes, and you know, I've had quite a few people that were like, "Oh, if you definitely go, and we'll put some money in." So I announced sort of at the weekend that I was going, and then put it on today. So there's still a couple of people that are keen to sponsor. Need to chase a couple of people up, but it's one of them. It's, you know, I know it's tough for everyone, but I was like thinking last week, right, I just need to go for this now, because if I don't, I'll never go. And I don't want to be, you know, I've sort of done everything in my career that I've set out to do and wanted to. And I was like, I don't want to be some old codger in a chair at 60 or 70, regretting not doing it, you know, regretting, oh, I wish I'd gone and done that. So I just need to go and do it. 42. So
okay.
Yeah, getting on a bit now.
You're the perfect age, David, to go and race at a motocross meeting called the Vets MXDN. I don't know who runs it, but
I know, yeah. I was wanting to go this year, and then everything got cancelled, didn't it? But I've got a good air-cooled 500 Honda lined up now, so
have you?
I'll be right. Yeah.
Is that who's built that?
Blandy.
Oh, right, okay, that is a good bike then.
Stuart Bland, yeah. So yeah. Blandy, he was on and said, "Would you keen to ride that?" And I was like, "Definitely." You know.
Oh, fair play. Okay, all right.
Well, we'll get a Manx team. There's a few lads over here with some decent bikes now, so it'd be good to get an Isle of Man team in.
Is your brother still riding?
Yeah, June's still riding. Yeah. More trials again now than anything, because he couldn't afford to get a bike because he was trying to keep the young fella in bikes, but. Yeah, he'd be bumming. He did a few off on Bill Brown's Mako's Hawkson and stuff years ago.
I remember, yeah, like 15 years ago.
Yeah, I think he just like as a beer tent, you know what June's like. But no, I'd love to come and do it. The track looks ace, and so we'll make it happen next year, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you come, David, I'm sure that there's sometimes they put a bog in the track and other times they miss it out. But I'm sure if you come there,
do you know what? We're not actually allowed to use that anymore.
What, the bog?
No, that's serious. Yeah, no.
I can believe it.
Yeah, we're not allowed to go anywhere near that bog anymore. It's not a triple SSI or anything like that, but it's of interest to somebody. So
that'll be Kurt or someone paying you not to put it in so they don't get stuck. know what the motocrossers are like.
Actually, it's funny you should say that. I don't think we've had it since Kurt's been there.
Get the hose pipe out. I'll bring a fire engine.
Was Kurt your team manager at any stage?
Yeah, Kurt was my boss for. It was him that probably stupidly employed me, but we did some winning, me and Kurt. It was good. Yeah, when he left, after Kurt left, it all went downhill, really.
Is that right?
Yeah, when we had the Germans taking charge and stuff, and didn't get my sense of humour.
But was that when you were in the States or in Europe?
No, Europe, and then when I went over, Pitt took over the European thing, and then in 07, 06, Kurt approached me and says, "Do you want to come over to America and race for us?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's another thing that I've always wanted to, obviously, to be world champion was the first thing I wanted to do." And then I don't, in my head, I don't believe you're a proper world champion until you've beat the Americans as well. Yeah. And I didn't want the Yanks saying, "Oh, you'd never come over and beat me," like they did with Stefan. So I was like, right, I've got to go over there and beat them now in their own playground. So Kurt offered that to me, and I went over, and so he was in charge there then. So yeah, he was good.
So was that the GNCC?
GNCC, and then I did we had like last man standing and stuff like that, the extreme races, and then the Enduro Cross that was kicking off then, the indoor stuff. So I won that as well a couple of times for them. So yeah, I think 2 GNCC titles and 2 AMA Enduro Cross. So that was my 4 American ones. So, but I loved it over there. I love racing over there.
Who wouldn't? What a chance of an absolute lifetime! Yeah, great to take that, have that opportunity.
Yeah, because I think, you know, I'm not one of them people, and I might sound big-headed, but I think I could have stayed in Europe and won maybe 8, 10 world titles. I was in that such of a good rhythm and a good groove. You know, I was turning up to races knowing that I was going to win. And, you know, there's probably not many people, not many sort of top riders in the times gone past that have been able to do that. But literally, I could turn up to a world championship race and I was like, I knew I'd won it in my head. I knew I'd won it before I even started. And it's such a good place to be. So, you know, so to get out of that and then go and start something completely different in America was, you know, it was hard, but I knew I've got to go and do it. And then when I come back to Europe, it was quite hard then, because I'd got out of that routine, out of that rhythm, done different races. The bikes were different. So I come back and jumped on a completely different bike. And it was quite tough, but I got there again in the end and won. But I'm not sort of one of them people that is that bothered about winning 10 world titles. I'd rather go and win different titles, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Without being rude, you have to mention any figures. Is winning an Enduro World Championship equivalent to, you know, what a motocross world champion could potentially make?
No, that's why I'm crowdfunding.
Well, I thought I'd ask the question.
Well, it's like in America, the money in the US, I was on the same money with KTM for World and in America, but America was a lot better because I had my Red Bull deal when I was over there. There was all sorts of little sponsors that would come and pay you 10 grand to put a sticker on your bike, which you didn't get in Europe, or you probably did, but the teams probably grabbed it before the rider did. So that was good, but the big problem I never knew when I went, but wouldn't have bothered me anyway, because I just wanted to go and win. I got double taxed. The Isle of Man hasn't got a tax agreement with America, so I was paying tax in America, and then I was paying tax again here. So I ended up on half the money than I did in Europe. But yeah, but you sort of like, I'm not one of them people. I'm not that bothered. As long as I win the races, I won the races that I wanted to do. That's all that sort of mattered to me, which, you know, not very good business sense, I don't suppose, but I'm a bike rider, I just wanted to win. And that was all.
You should have got them to pay you in bikes.
Yeah, it would have been all right, wouldn't it? I've got plenty of them, plenty behind me.
I can see them.
Obviously, being in the Isle of Man, the land of the motorcycle, I call it anyway. I've been over there a few times to watch a TT, etc. And what made you go down the enduro route, David? What was when you started?
I started with trials, obviously. With that was what I did. I always had speed in me. I used to race around like a lunatic on me TY80 and PW50, and my old man was always bollocking me on a bloody trials bike, but I was just always flat out everywhere. But my dad rode trials. He was a decent trials rider over here. He went and did the Lakes 2 day and the Irish experts and stuff every year, and he would go and do that, him and his mates. And then the TT was always, as a kid growing up, I wanted to win the TT. I wanted to be world trials champion. I wanted to win the TT. It's like you're growing up over here, and obviously the TT was a massive for any kid over here, but I think especially for me, it was, you know, that was my sort of dream. And then my trials career went well, ended up winning the British Expert Championship in '96, went to the main championship class in '97, had some decent rides in that, but it was a massive jump to go from the Expert Championship to the other one. Was huge, and you were smashing bikes up, and I was working as a mechanic, you know, in the week. And and when you smash your bike down a load of big rocks every weekend, it got expensive. And that time, my brother Juan was doing. He ended up do the 6 day in '95 in an Isle of Man team. They were short of a rider, and one of the boys asked him, and he was like, "Never done an enduro, but yeah, I'll go and have a crack at it." And then straight away, he ended up leading the British Championship the year after, or a couple of years after. And I always used Juan as a target when I was a kid growing up. You know, I had that much focus and that much determination. I was like, at first I tried beating my dad when I was a kid, and once I beat my dad, it was like another guy, and then eventually got to my brother to beat him. So it was like a ladder. So when he started enduro and he was riding for Geraint Jones in the Yamaha team, and he was winning the British Championship, and I was like, the hell, I can beat him. You know, I just knew in my head that I couldn't beat him there and then, but you know, if I worked at it for a couple of years, I knew I would be better than him. So I just stuck my head down. I just bury my head and crack on with something when I want to do it. And sure enough, my first year in '98, I just missed the British Championship by about 2 points. That was my first full year riding enduro. Never mind, you know, riding British Championship. That was my first full year in enduro. So then I went on to win World Junior events. I never did the full championship because I couldn't afford to go and do it. And yeah, won the British Championship then from '99, pretty much right the way through to 2012 or whatever. You know, Juan won one of them. I missed 1 year doing Italian Championship, and Juan won that. But yeah, I just enjoyed the enduro, the bit of speed, and it had a bit of everything. You know, I used to hate in trials when you sat in a queue waiting to get in a section. I used to queue jump a lot.
I guess living where you live had its benefits, but I guess it also, travel-wise, has quite a lot of drawbacks because it always involved at least a boat ride to get to where you wanted to go.
Yeah, I don't think I went on an aeroplane until I was about 15 or 16. That was the first time I ever flew. Yeah, like we went across. First time we ever went to a British Championship, I wasn't old enough to go in the B class, but they let me ride anyway because Juan was going to do it. They just said, "Oh yeah, he can ride if he wants." I wasn't old enough, but and Juan ended up second in that. A guy called Jason Lawyer won. I think it was. I think his young lad's doing some motocross or enduro now. He won. Juan was second. Jarvis was third, and Lampkin was fourth. So he went straight into Schoolboy British Championship and finished second. But yeah, we had to get the ferry over, and you know, it cost a bloody fortune, and we couldn't do that. You couldn't do them all. I couldn't do them all because you know, mum and dad were flat out working to pay for ferries really, and I never had a new bike until I was winning the British Schoolboy Championship at 15 again, I think. It was always on cast-offs of Juan's, which I think it does you. I don't think it does you any harm. I think it does you good.
Absolutely not. No, I think it probably makes you appreciate more what you've got, and makes you you want
and
it.
And then that Schoolboy British Championship, I think that was my downfall that year because I got a brand new bike halfway through the year, and I was scared of wrecking it. And I rode absolutely crap when I got that bike for about 3 months. So I was scared to scratch it. I was like, Mum and Dad they've worked with them and arses off, and you know, to get a bike and to do what I'm doing. And you know, we didn't really get any Christmas presents or birthday presents much. It was all that's all I wanted to do. It didn't bother me. But yeah, I think I probably appreciated it too much, and it cost me winning the championship. But no, you live and learn. Everything's a learning curve when you're young.
Oh, absolutely.
How in any motorsport, machinery is important. Obviously, how important is it? Because when you went to BMW, it was weird because we had Stefan Everts on, and I can't David remember the team he went to, and team's question was, why the hell did you go to that team?
When he went to the Husky team, yeah. Well, yeah, we know why he went there. He told us.
Yeah. And I bet he never got it. But Yeah, the BM thing on paper, it was ace because, like I said, I'd dominated for the 4 years before that pretty much. And I wouldn't say I was getting bored, but I wanted a new challenge. KTM were making a massive push then in MotoGP with the Roberts team back then. So they were cutting everyone's salary, and then BMW come along and offered us about 4 times more. Yeah. So, you know, I was like, I want to be involved in, and still now, I really, you know, I'm old school, and like I've got my bikes here, and all I do with them, I just try making them better all the time, and that's what motivates me really. And I always wanted to be a development rider, want to develop bikes. Absolutely love it. I'd go out, you know, still go out now. I'll go and test 10 different tires in a day. Suspension in and out, I mean, valving it in here. Yeah, I love it. And the BM thing on paper was brilliant, but it just turns out it's a complete disaster.
What was the problem?
The people running it mainly. The team was all right. The team had some decent people. They had a lot of people from KTM. They all left and went to BMW with us. But they just, the big boss guy off the project, he was in charge of superbikes and in charge of the enduro thing. They were just, I don't know, you talk to them like, we need to do this. And they just had none of it. And the guy that was running the team manager, he asked me to get my own chassis made because the frame was made out of stainless steel. So that was one problem. It weighed about 25 ton and it would snap. Stainless steel is brittle. So yeah. I rang up a frame builder guy and I said, why would you make a frame out of stainless steel? And he laughed and he said, you wouldn't. So I asked the guy who designed the bike and I said, why did you make the frame out of stainless steel? And he said, oh, because it doesn't rust and you don't have to paint it. And that was how simple it was. And then the big issue with the bike was the front sprocket. The swing arm pivot went through the swing arm frame, through the front sprocket. So when you open the throttle, the rear end was actually slightly lift on it. It wouldn't squat like a normal bike. It would lift and it wouldn't grip. So that was another problem. And the crankshaft went backwards on it, which was another trouble. So there was 3 key things with that bike that didn't work. And, you know, which we were all tested together and I was always seemed well on it. And then I actually bought a Honda at the start of that year because we didn't have any BMs until about March, April. So I bought a new 450 Honda in 09, which was fuel injected to train on. So I'd be riding this Honda and like riding probably as good as ever have done, if not better. And then you'd get on the BM and I would have a massive crash and I wouldn't know why. It would like spit me into the ground. Like, you know, if you did 100 laps, you'd end up spitting you into the ground on maybe 2 laps at 2 times. And I was like, well, that's weird. Then you start losing a bit of confidence. And then I was like doing lap times and in the sand, it was actually all right because obviously we knew after it was getting grip. But when you're in something slick, it felt all right, but it just wasn't going forward. So like I would look at the times, I was like, shit, we're in trouble here. So went to the first World Championship and I'd raised a few little points here and there. And I thought, well, maybe just nervous. We'll go and get the first race out of the way. And we were all a disaster. Me, Salman and Antarko were all a complete disaster. And then the BM guys were like, you know, hands in the air, oh, what's happened? And the next week was the same. It was really wet, a race that I should have gone and cleaned up in easily. And, you know, I was riding harder than I've ever ridden before. And I was coming out of special tests like 3rd on this big muddy test. And I was like, I'd be like 20 seconds ahead on a normal bike around here easily. And it just, so I rode that. I think 6 months I stayed, I had a 2-year deal with an option for more. And I was depressed. I was, I wouldn't say suicidal, but I was pretty well down in the dumps. And because riding a bike with me, well, it still is. That's, you know, that's my hobby as well as my job. And if you're not enjoying it, it was absolute hell. And people could see it. People, you know, friends of mine was like, you know, So I went testing with them again, and no one else would speak up. Everyone was sort of, you know, they were taking the money and keeping quiet, and I was like, you know, I can't do that. You know, I just want to win. I've got maybe another 3 or 4 years in my career that I can win at the top, and I don't want to be sat here riding this thing. So I went to them and I says, listen, why don't we make a race version? You know, this year's knackered anyway. Let's make an R model, which is more normal, like a KTM or a Japanese bike, a normal concept. And they were like, no, we will not do this. This is impossible and all that. And I said, right, well, I'm sorry, if you're not going to do that, then I'm leaving. And luckily in my contract I had that if the bike won't perform and the team won't make the necessary changes to improve it, then I can walk. And that's what happened. So I got a lot of shit of people for that, but my mental state of health and me, you know, my own good was more important than staying there to take, you know, 400 grand a year.
I do. Did Joel Smets rode it as well, didn't he? Was that before or after?
No, Joel rode it. I think he was involved with it before me. Yeah, he was, because I remember going to the Red Bull Knockout in Holland, Schwenningen, whatever it's called, big trace. And Joel was there on the BM.
Yeah, I saw him.
I was KTM still there. That was end of 08, that would have been.
Okay.
So I think, I don't know if he was there the year that I rode it or he left by then. He might have did bits that year, maybe that second year.
I did see on Instagram recently that I can't remember his name now. One of the guys that works for KTM currently, he's
Dirk.
Still got, that's the one. He's got your BMW.
Yeah, well, Dirk was like he left KTM and come with us to BMW, and I went testing one day with Dirk and with Timo, who mechanic for me in America as well, Finnish lad, and they had this new thing to test on the bike, and it was basically where the shock mounted onto the swing arm. It was a different triangle there because of PDS, like a KTM was, and I tried this bike and I was like, right, that's as good as I can go. We were on an old Grand Prix track in Austria. We were over the border. I've forgotten what it was called. You probably remember it anyway, but
Schwarzenstadt?
It wouldn't be that far from Munich over the border into Austria.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
But we went there anyway, and it was a hell of a ace track, like old school motocross track. And I was ripping around this, and I was like, right, that's all I can do. Can't go anymore. Bike was as good as I could get it. And they were like, yeah, Salmonen was here yesterday, and you're faster than what he was going, so you're riding well. Do you want to try something else? And I was like, what have you got? And he pulled a new Kawasaki out the back of the van. And I said, is this a joke? And they were like, no, we want you to try it to see if it's better than the BMW. So I literally jumped on this Cowie, bog standard Cowie, and he had 18-inch wheel in the back with Michelin tyres and mousses on. That was it. And I did about 3 laps on this Cowie, and the boys were shaking their heads and walked off laughing. Well, my first full lap that I did on that bike, I was 8 seconds quicker than I was on the BM.
No.
On a motocross track. And I think I did about 45 minutes on the bike, ran out of fuel, pushed it back in, and we just got in the van, and them boys were just like laughing and, you know, what the hell do we do?
And that was the Kawasaki Enduro bike, the
motocrosser.
Oh, the motocross one.
Motocross bike, yeah.
God, yeah.
And then that's why I ended up riding the Cowie then, because I liked that bike so much. I jumped on it and I rode it around that track, and I was like, this thing's unreal. Probably because I'd been riding that BM, and it was just, honestly, it wasn't a bad bike to go trail riding on. If you went out trail riding with your mates, it was what it said on the box, really. It was good. It was easy to ride. It wasn't overly powerful. And I think with mine, because mine was a 500, not a 450, mine was it magnified all the problems even more because it had more torque in it. And the standard bike for most people would have been fine. It was all right. It handled good. But it just didn't go forward. It didn't get any grip.
Future classic. That's one to have in your garage now.
Yeah, well, Dirk, I never wanted to see it because it was here, and the guy come from Germany to pick it up, and my brother my brother said he's into oddities. He's got like
yeah, no,
30
seriously,
osses and
anything that's crap back in the day, generally, go
well, I
fast
know
forward
that
15 years.
because June's got these bloody osses and stuff next door that no one ever wanted when they were new, and he's got people all around the world trying to buy them off him, and he's like, and CCM Charles bike and all sorts.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Telephone numbers.
Nick Jeffries says, "Why the hell would you want one of them for?" And he was a factory rider on them, but June's got some oddities there. But yeah, and he said, "You want to keep that?" And I said, "I never want to see that bike ever again."
He was right.
Well, he was, and I knew he would be, but I was just like, I can't bear to look at it. Anyway, Dirk ended up with my race bike, and he's still got it. So
no, I saw the picture.
I said,
it looked brand new.
Yeah. Well, I said we'd maybe do shop hour enduro in like 2029 or something. So it's 20 years after I raced it. I might bear to look at it by then.
Absolutely.
I've got a question for you, David. You're nervous.
Yeah.
Don't know if you can see it. Have you ever considered joining the Purple Helmets?
No. But, no, the boys have all had a good. Yeah, they all got a bit old now. I think it's when I was a young lad and they all started doing the stuff. It was unreal. You know, it was funny, and but everyone gets older, don't they? I don't think the lads want to hit the ground like they used to anymore.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, I needed some young lads in. I'm too old to do it now. I'd end up snapping.
Well, David will explain for the people that are watching who the Purple Helmets are, in case people don't know.
Which David?
David Knight. Sorry.
Yeah, the purple. Well, it was like what were they called? The white helmets, weren't they? The stunt team in England that used to go around. Yeah, so the Isle of Man lot. There was load of enduro boys over here that end up chopping up a load of C90 Hondas and putting different forks, painted all black. They had the big old army brown jackets on. Black helmets. I don't know why they were called purple helmets when they had black helmets, but just a load of dickheads, really. That's what it was. And I think the first thing that they did was to sort of Steve Colley used to do his big trial show at TT Week up in Onken Stadium. So the purple helmets were like they formed that to support Colley, really. And then in the end, that was the main thing. And Colley was a sideshow years later. But it was good, you know, when it was all sort of new and it was ace to watch. Like my kids love watching it now when the boys do the Sunspot.
Oh, yeah. It's a brilliant. I mean, people like me have heard of it who don't really follow. I've never been to the Isle of Man. I don't really follow that side of road racing.
Yeah,
I've seen all those purple helmets clips, and if it's educating people, then it's got to be a good thing.
Yeah, of course it is, isn't it? Yeah, it's people. It always got people that weren't interested in motorbikes to Onken Stadium, and they would watch that, and then the kids would be like, "I want a motorbike." So that's how it works. It's old school, totally back to bare roots.
Yeah, I totally agree.
My experience of the purple helmets was I was having a beer in a pub.
I know this.
And all of a sudden, some bloke comes riding through on a C90.
Oh yeah, in a pub.
In a pub.
Yeah. They were doing burnouts in the church at a funeral the other month.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the guys that was involved with them, he died, and they had the bikes into the church. I don't know if the vicar was too pleased, but yeah, I can imagine them doing burnouts and stuff in the church. But
I want to jump slightly, and I want to ask you about your MBE. I mean, how does that come about?
The Queen said to me, she said,
it doesn't happen very often. So
the Queen said to me, she says, "Well, I thought I'd give one to you because we've had a few world motocross champions, but they're all a bit soft, they're motocross boys. So yeah, I'll give it to a tough enduro rider."
No, honestly, what's
that's what she said. That's what I was laughing at in that photo.
You're joking.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Does somebody like put your name forward or something like? Is that how it works?
I think so, but like I asked that because you know, I was quite shocked when I got it. And you see a few people, you know, a few people over the years, like Dougie's had one, hasn't he? Halewood, Joe.
Oh dear, it's gone again. You better take a picture of it. That's not very flattering.
No, he's gone again. This is the joys of living on an island in the middle of the sea, I suppose.
It's Brexit. That's what it is.
Yeah, he'll be back.
It's because we haven't paid the fee.
Yeah, this
is going to be the story of our life for about the next 3 or 4 years. Every time we want to go abroad, they'll be.
Anyway,
paid the fee.
Anyway, people, let's see if I can get him back. Here we go. Hey, is he back?
There's some motocross guy working for the Manx Internet Company and cut me off. But no,
carry on.
There's been a lot of there's been quite a few people, you know, Dougie and road racing guys that have had one. A couple of girls that have had them. I think the big reason was the 6-day enduro. I'm still the only British winner of that in 112, 113 years. I won that overall in 2005.
It's gone again.
Yeah, it's gone again. But well, he's off. If you see that GoFundMe night at the Dakar, it's quite easy to donate. David said, you know, before he come on, he didn't really want to go down that route. Sort of, it was like begging people.
I would imagine that's the last, you know, especially a guy like David's not going to want to go asking for handouts. But I never realised it cost the sort of money that he's talking about.
Yeah. So
go on.
No, I was going to say, so people watching, if you want to go on GoFundMe for David Knight, you know, even if it's a cup of coffee, if we get 10,000 supporters spending a £5 each, there's the rest of his money for the Paris Dakar.
I'd imagine when you went to see the Queen, what did she like? Give you a couple of mil? Do you get a couple of million for
shouldn't he give me 1.5? No, so yeah, I think the 6-day enduro was one of the big. Obviously, I'd won in World Championships and won in America and all these big extreme races, but I think the 6-day, that for me was.
And
he might come back. Yeah, like I was saying, if you want to donate, you can. You know, if you do it in the masses and not a lot of money, it's a lot easier than, like I say, a cup of coffee even.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Instead of putting the £2.80 in for a Costa coffee tomorrow morning, like I always do.
Exactly, you know, just ping it over to David and that'd be great.
How many people we got watching? 2 or 3?
We've got, I don't know, about 100 odd. So it might even be more because it's going to other pages, so I don't know the exact numbers, but he's back.
What a nightmare.
It's funny, actually, David, whenever we start talking about money, the internet goes.
I know. But yeah, I think, going back to that one quick, I think it was a 6-day enduro that was a big one for me. And yeah, so, but it was good. It was a nice, you know, something that I've sort of, I was worried about going there, and it's not sort of my style thing to go to stuff like that. But it was absolutely ace. My mum went, my missus, and it was definitely, you know, one of a lifetime sort of days to remember.
Does it?
It was good, and she.
Sorry, you carry on.
Yeah, it was like the thing that gets her is she knows when you go up to meet her. She knew that I raced off-road bikes. She knew I didn't do the TTE or something else. She knew quite a bit about it. So, you know, fair dues is, I think there was like 80-something people there that day. And, you know, whether she had something in her ear, I don't know, but probably not. She probably just, you know, studied it. I don't know. She just knew when you went there who was who, and she was spot on. You know, she mentioned about bikes and off road, and William and Harry that are into bikes, and it was nice. It was a pretty special day.
Does it open, having an MBE, does it open doors for you? You know, is there a potential career path? You know, because I could see you as, you're a good speaker, you know the sport. I could see you as somebody going to Parliament and saying, hey, listen, we want a, you know, us off-roaders want a better deal.
We've tried. I've tried over here, we have, but you just, it's not easy. You bang your head against the wall, don't you? But I'll never give up trying, you know. For when you see the Isle of Man now for what it was 5-10 years ago even, it's disappointing, and it's, you know, you want somewhere for your kids to go and enjoy and ride the bikes, and at the minute that's, you know, pretty much taken away. Like when you listen to Joel and Stefan in Belgium, same thing. In England it's bad, but yeah, just I don't understand it. It's almost like they want kids to go and take drugs on street corners and not ride,
go like this in front.
Yeah, and it is. And I know, you know, I've got 3 kids, and the older 2 are 7 and 6, and it's hard to get them off it. You know, they're on PlayStations, on them, and Nintendo Switches and that, and it's, you know, I used to play computer games as a kid, but they didn't go out like they used to with all the mates like we did. But it's, you know, I was talking to a mate about it, and I think it's just different times. I think it's, you know, everyone you speak to, it's the same, and it's almost, if they do go out and enjoy themselves, what kids should be doing, they get in trouble for it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Talking of the MBE, how did the Olympic torch thing come about?
That was another thing, because they was coming to the Isle of Man, so they just got different people from the Isle of Man, sportsmen, just people that have done different things, you know. So that was nice. That was good. Of the, you know, it's weird because the Manx government seem to do some good things like that, but then you're trying to encourage them to, you know, there's a lot of good kids over here, a lot of kids that love the motorbikes and just want to ride them. But you need the government to support them. You know, you don't want money. People, they always think, oh, what money do you want? You're like, you don't want money. You just want somewhere that they can go and ride. And there's always some sort of curveball that they throw. Oh yeah, but we'll do this and get that bit of land, but you've got to pay about 2 million quid to get it suitable. Yeah. So it's, you know, I've got my own couple of tracks and stuff here, and just try and do my own thing away from the government, really, and you know, just make it as cheap as possible and as easy as it can for people to ride on. But yeah, it doesn't. The MBE thing, I think, well, one of the things that it allows you to do, you can get married in St Paul's Cathedral. So I don't know what, not much use to me.
You're already married, aren't you?
No, I'm not married. Haven't gone that far yet.
Sorry.
Got 3 kids with her, but
okay,
just take your time, just not rush into it.
So this obviously what's going on in the world, David. Do you get a lot of people from other parts of the world, and obviously the UK, come over to ride with you at your school and your trail?
The schools you get a lot of English guys coming over, Welsh, you know, you get a few foreigners over, but generally people from the UK coming over doing a bit of training. Usually before your Romaniacs events and, you know, the hard enduro stuff. The trail tour thing, obviously TT Week, classic TT, it's, you know, on Pack Solid, taking people out, taking people from different companies out riding. At the minute, I've got quite a few locals out. I think people, because they're stuck here, they're learning to ride off-road or you know, wanting to improve themselves a little bit. So I really enjoy it. You know, the trail tour thing I really enjoy, because I love going trail riding. You don't do it enough, and when you do go out, you're like, oh, this is becoming good fun. You have the crack with everyone. It's you know, chilled out, and you stop. Most people just want to ride the bikes a little bit and have a chat to you about, you know, different races and ask you questions about stuff, which, you know, you stop at a pub and get some lunch, it's nice. So you get a lot of people just coming for that, and it's nice and laid back. And I think when all this lockdown's over, when the Isle of Man opens its borders again and all this COVID thing finishes, I think it's going to be busy. I think you're going to get a lot of people, wanting to come over.
The world's going to go mad.
Yeah. Like I want to go, obviously, to England and do some events, and it's been hard. I've missed it a lot, coming over and just doing World Road races or the odd Brit round here and there. British Extreme, whatever. I miss it. We had a lot of races. I think we had the first race in the country after lockdown over here, and we had pretty much 2 races a week at one time. We were doing a Sunday and a Wednesday night in the summer, and it was brilliant. And I think everyone got sort of burned out with it, and then it sort of all the races disappeared again.
Coming back to the. Sorry, I want to get this in before your internet breaks down again. The Dakar timeline. We're 2 weeks away from Christmas. It starts New Year's Day. So
3rd of January.
Sorry, 3rd. Run us through the timeline and the logistics of. I guess you've not even ridden the bike yet.
Well, I've got one over here. I've got a bike that I've had, a training bike, and I've not really ridden it a lot because it never got paid for. So it's still sat in here with a 20-odd grand bill for it. But it's the brand new one that's gone out to Dakar. Henk sent a 2021 brand new one out.
That's already gone.
Yeah, they sent that. So I actually leave here on Boxing Day morning. I get the ferry over because there's no flights, and then get to Amsterdam for the 27th, and there's a chartered flight there. So then we've got a quarantine for 2 days, and then we've got a shakedown test and get all the admin stuff done. So it's you think, you've got a week and a bit before it starts, but in reality, you don't have 2 days in a hotel room quarantining, so you can get all this stuff done there, and then I think it's going to be flat out then.
Saudi Arabia, you're talking about?
Yeah, getting to Saudi. Yeah, so Dakar starts on the 3rd, finishes on the 15th. So it's going to be the toughest 2 weeks of my life, definitely. I think. In Spain, I don't think. When you're used to doing like World Enduro and extreme races and stuff like that, the riding's not actually, and even if you're, a good motocross rider, I don't think the rally riding's anywhere near as physical as what enduro or motocross is. The hard thing for me, obviously, your concentration. You could be on the bike for 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours, depending how long the day is. And the thing that's always put me off it was setting off at 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever the time you start, even earlier. And like -3 degrees and doing like 350 mile on a road, on a straight road. And you're limited to you might be limited to 50 kilometers an hour, 90 kilometers an hour, which, is not quick. And you're going along shivering in the first thing in the morning. That's what I'll find tough. Definitely. I think when I get onto the stage, I'll be all right. That's where you sort of go into your race mode and just enjoy yourself. It's hard to enjoy a flat, straight road for 300 or 400 mile, I guess, in the cold. But I think, like in Spain, we weren't doing the road miles. We might have been doing an hour and 20 minutes on the road, and it was cold, 6 o'clock in the morning. But when you get to the stage, you're sort of excited then, what have we got today? And you've got your big road book on there, and you're not sure where you're going, and you've just got to find a rhythm. I find over there, you've just got to drop into your rhythm and not go over that, just build at it. And I think that's where being 42 years old, hopefully, is, it's a plus for me. It's something that maybe 10, 15 years ago, you would have got caught by someone, or you get the red mist down because something's gone wrong, and you just go like that, and the next minute you're in a heap on the floor in the middle of nowhere. So I think for me, the result's not that important. It's, I think if I go there, enjoy it, do the best that I can, try not to make any mistakes. As long as I enjoy myself, I know that I'll do all right. Hopefully the bike will, I'm sort of quite, despite what some people might think, I'm quite mechanically sympathetic to a bike. I know what's going on, and you know, I've always worked on my own bikes. So I think if I keep the bike going, try and not make any mistakes, try not crashing so often, and just bring it to the finish. And you know, if I got a top 20 result, I'd be absolutely made up with that.
Yeah.
If I got a top 15, I'd be like, it's ecstatic, you know. If I got a top 30, I'd be like, yeah, I've been there, I've finished it. Hopefully I've enjoyed it. And then figure out if I want to do it again, if any opportunities come, you know. I might do this Dakar and think, you know what, I don't want to do it again. Didn't enjoy it. But I think from what I've done so far, I think I'm going to love it. That's what I'm scared of, because, you know, do you get the opportunity to go and do it again? I don't know. So the only pressures for me, you know, I've got no pressure on me. I've made people realize, I've had a couple of people that, you know, were thinking of sponsoring me, doing something, and I think they thought I was going to go there and win. And I was like, listen, I'm not going to go there and win. That isn't what it's about. And I said, if you're wanting someone to go and win, then, you know, that isn't me at this stage. You know, you 4 or 5 year plan to go and, you know, sort of get in the top 5, top 6 or something like that. But as it is, first rally, I just need to go and do every day as it comes, finish every day, and just see what happens, see where I end up at the end.
Yeah. Do you, I mean, a guy on your level, would you ever consider like picking up the phone and ringing up Sam Sunderland saying, Sam, I'm going to do this, you know, can you give me any tips? Or do you just keep your head down and just do your own thing?
Yeah, I spoke to Jamie McCanny a little bit. Jamie obviously did it last year first, and he finished 15th, did bloody good job. But I think I've asked obviously little things, like he's told me about how cold it is in the morning. He said the worst thing last year was being freezing riding on the road. So I've got like FXR snowsuits coming. Luckily they do snowmobile stuff, don't they? So
yeah,
got the FXR gear, which is perfect. Heated gloves. And you get to the start of the stage, you can fire all that in a bag and off you go in your normal kit.
It sounds like they, you know, the team, especially David's done his homework with all the kit, and I really do hope he does well. Really hope he does well.
Yeah, well,
I think that'll be, if he does like it, as you say, if he, you know, say finishes top 15, who's to know that he wouldn't get picked up by a factory team for next year?
Well, he's certainly got the talent to do it, and
he's a big name as well, isn't he? For any team to have David Knight riding for them, you know, that's you know, everybody's heard of him.
Yeah, even if you're not into enduro, everybody
after a team.
Yeah, no, we were just saying that, you know, even if you did say you finished at 15th, it's a building year. You can build on that, and who knows, you know, whether a factory team could pick you up next year.
I'd love it, you know. It's different now, you know. I'm old school, and you know, I'm not the best on social media and stuff, figuring all that out and bullshitting myself up like you've got to do. But you know, I've been and done it, and
you need to do some backflips. Did you see I saw on all over Facebook and Instagram this morning, Travis Pastrana doing a pit bike race at the weekend. Actually, in the race, he's on this little pit bike and he's doing the loop and still beating them all. That guy's nuts.
Has he ever
no
been in touch with them for
No. I have asked, but and he's aware of the event, but I don't think it would be something that he'd ever want to do. I mean, look at the stuff he does now.
Try again.
There we go.
Yeah, no, I'd love to be involved with the team, and you know, I'm not bothered being a number 4 rider in a team, you know, just to help out and stuff. But I can, you know, I know how to ride a bike still. I'm still quite quick. I know what's wrong with the bike and what you need to to improve a bike. So
what if BMW brought a Dakar team and they asked you, would you do it?
Yeah, of course I would. I don't know if they would ever ask me. I don't know if they'd ask me again. But yeah, you go through, you know, like I've said some shit things in my career, you know, heat of the moment, and you know, not done myself any favors with it, but I just wanted to win. And if I see that in a young kid now, then that's something to embrace, because I see too many kids now that young riders, guys doing world championship, that are happy with 4th place, you know, and it really annoys me. You know, I'm thinking, you've got factory bikes, you've got everything there, and you're not even bothered about winning. You know, I love a kid that gets angry and peed off with not winning. You know, that's how I was. And you look at Dougie Lampkin, Dougie was the same. And I think it's something that you've almost got to have to do it, whether, you know, you've got to learn to control it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Here he's back
again. You'd get frustrated, and you know, I'd work my ass off 7 days a week, you know, all day, every day to get to where I wanted to, and that's the only way that you can make it. And when you didn't win, you were like, you know, I've done more training, I've done more of this than anyone else, and it was frustrating when you got beat. But you do learn the older you get. Like now, you've mellowed a lot. You accept it now that, you know, I'm not young anymore, but I can still do a bloody good job. So yeah, one of them. It's different times a little bit now. That's the problem.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I've got a question, David, that someone's put up, and is a friend of mine. And if I don't put it up, he'd give me earache, so I'll bring it up. His dad actually used to be a Works Enfield rider back in the 50s, trials.
Right,
rider.
Okay.
Did you ever ride the 6-day Scottish trial?
No, but it's on my list. During my brother next door, he's done it. I think June's done it about 21, 22 times now. It's something I always wanted to do. I've been and watched it when I was a kid, and just it was either the Scottish 6-day or British Championship, and it costs about the same money to do either. So I would always do the British Championship. But the last couple of years, I've sort of, it's come on to me now a little bit that, right, I need to go and do the Scottish in the next couple of years. I want to go and do it, and, you know, just go and have a crack with my mates, and no pressure, just go and have a bit of fun up there and enjoy it. So, yeah, definitely on my list, that.
Did you... Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, I think Jamie Dobb, I think, done the 6-day Scottish 6-day trial.
Yeah, Jamie did it for charity, didn't he?
That's
2 years ago.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah, with that guy from the TV, wasn't it?
No, he did it separate. That's what I watch Ross Noble's program.
That's the one. Yeah.
And he had the best weather ever for that Scottish. And
is it not? Yeah, I watched that. Is that
no, my brother said that was the easiest Scottish he's ever done because it was sunny all week. So normally it's hailstone and then force 20 winds in your face. So, but you seen that was good because you seen Ross Noble up there and you thought how beautiful Scotland is.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So that was something. Even when I seen that, I was like, right, I need to go and do the Scottish. It looks ace.
Yeah. When Adam did the intro for you in the beginning, some of those venues that you were riding at there, and I've watched some of the World Enduro Championships. I think it was the tail end of last year. Some of those look just glorious, traditional. They almost look like a traditional motocross venue, grassy hillsides.
Yeah, there is like Italy and stuff, big rolling hills up in the mountains, and you like probably what like the Austrian motocross Grand Prix and stuff used to be like back in.
What I was going to say was, I think if David was a rider, you know, probably in the 70s or 80s, with his ability to ride those venues, he'd have been a top flight GP rider.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, because like you say, those were the video clip that we put up at the start. It's reminding me of like when I first started riding a bike.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a man-made jump to be seen, but the way he skips up those almost like cliff face.
Yeah.
I've got so much admiration for anybody that can ride a bike like that, they've got so much bigger balls than me. I wouldn't even know how to do it.
Well, it's the balance. It's everything, isn't it? The balance, throttle, clutch, brake. You know, it's just a totally different.
And knowing you're not going to end up in hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes.
What are you actually? Is there you spinning something or pushing a connection in?
Yeah, the bumming old gerbils running around and the thing there. That's what I was like. Honestly, it's like my mate was down. He's got a big company over here, and he just said all the computers, the internet's all gone down, and it's just I don't know. Must be too many over here living now, and everyone's come over here to live.
Yeah, and it's probably with the COVID and that, I guess everybody is doing the same thing. They're all using the internet.
I've got another. What's this question? Hello, I'll bring him up because good work, Adam and Dave. Not sure if you've been asked yet, Farley, before. Will you be able to do it next year?
Hopefully.
Never. I don't think I've ever been to Farley.
Yeah.
Obviously, seen videos and stuff off it. And,
I think your brother. I remember your brother had.
Yeah, Drew might have. He could well have been. Could well have been.
A long time ago, maybe 15, 20 years ago. I'm sure I saw him there on a Mako.
Maybe. He might have been. Yeah, Drew might have been with Lundy and all them lot years ago. Yeah. And Brian and all. But
I think you definitely like the terrain. It looks like your type of going, especially up through the woods.
One of the best races I've ever done is a day in the dirt in America, in California. They have, and I did that on a CZ. Troy Lee had a CZ, like a 72 underneath exhaust on it. And yeah, that's it, same as that. And it had air shocks on the back of it, which were knackered. And Troy had it in his shop, right, showroom. And he said, "Oh, David, I want you to race it day in the dirt." And I was like, "I can't ride that." I said, "Look how nice it is." He said, No, I need some dirt on it. So I said, "Oh, I'll ride it." Anyway, we did the race, and it's probably the best race, most fun I've ever had on a motorbike. I ended up like, it was that slow. No, it was at big, I've forgotten, LA something. It was near Kurt Caselli's house up in the desert, in the high desert up there, California.
That wasn't, by the way, people, that wasn't planned. This is just for this. That was a CZ, a picture of a CZ on the wall.
David looks like he's put on weight there in that picture.
That's not him. Me.
Oh, sorry.
Definitely put on weight. that CZ used to cry when I got on it. It actually.
You still got it? No,
I sold it. It's one of those. It's like all the bikes you buy, you sell, and then you regret it. Always regret selling them.
Oh, tell me about it. Yeah. I've got one at the moment, big time, that I've regretted selling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry about this internet.
That's all right.
Yeah, that CZ. So the clutch was slipping on it. I snapped the shocks clean off it. On the step up, there was a stuntman guy. He passed me on this Elsinore, real trick Elsinore Honda, and I thought, I'm not being beaten by him. So I started doing this step up the hill, and snapped the shock clean off it. So I come in, the shock was snapped off the swing arm, and I was like, "Oh, sorry, Troy." And but what a cracking! Lars Lindstrom actually won. Lars won on his dad on Gunner's factory Husky. Lars was on that, so he was gone. He was miles away. I hole shot because I didn't shut off for the first turn. I went around the first turn like knee on the ground because it was that low. And then Lars just cleared off and went. And I ended up second on that thing. The boys were passing me up the hill, and then down the next hill, I'd pass them all back again. It was proper. It was ace. And but yeah, that was one of the most fun races I've ever done. It was brilliant.
How tall are you, David? About 6'2", 3, is it?
Yeah, 6'3".
Yeah, has it ever hindered your height, would you say, or would you?
Yeah, on modern bikes it does more. I feel the older the KTM's, like the old 05, 06s and that I was really successful on, they were quite tall. You measure them now and they're no different when you measure them, but when you ride them, they're a lot taller and narrower than a modern bike. You get on a new bike and you all feel cramped. Like I always run a bit taller seat
There we go.
You again.
Well, I reckon we should call it a day, because David's when he comes back, obviously we're
absolutely,
because we've been on now over an hour. I'll just give a shout out actually to Lee Ashby, who's been doing the interviews as well. And
I really enjoyed them. Especially enjoyed the one on that he did with Max Anstey. I must be a week or so ago, but you know, not somebody who I've normally listened to, but very, very interesting. Very interesting.
Definitely in the motocross world, enduro world, speedway, motorsports, we all definitely need to stick together and try and get it out there as much as we can.
I mean, Lee's got a very good knowledge of speedway, hasn't he? I think his dad was a speedway rider.
Yeah. We were just saying, David, we're as you keep popping off, we're wrap it up and you know, just
I'll try and get some decent internet.
Thank you so much for coming on and
thanks for having me. It's been good crack.
Are you going to do any like social media during the Dakar? Is that possible?
With this the Spirit of Motorsport company, quite new, they've got behind me and been really good getting everything out there. So we're gonna do like updates. I'll do one every morning, every evening, and it'll go through that.
How do we?
It'll first go through their platform, then I'll share them all.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's on the Spirit of Motorsport page, and then you've got a private group on that you can go to, get the link and stuff. But we'll put it on that, and then I'll share it all anyway on my stuff when I'm out there. So I don't know what the score is with internet and stuff out there. You'll just have to do it when I've got it, sort of thing. But no, that's one of the things that I really want to do. Really, is let people, you know, even if it's like 30-second clip in the morning.
Oh, exactly. I think it'll be absolute gold. You'll you know, it's straightforward. Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll watch anything.
So, no, we're keen to do that because that's something I want to do. And then the Spirit of Motorsport TV, like they're, you know, obviously wanting to push me on that and do it. So we do like a 30-40-second thing in the morning, you know, getting up at 3 o'clock or whatever. And we've got 900 kilometers to ride today. And then, you know, when I come back in, say what was good, what went wrong.
I think even the build up to it, even you're flying over all that nonsense, it'll be interesting to us. So we can all build a picture of what's going on.
Yeah, I've definitely, because I've even started doing some videos now the last few days, just doing stuff here, bits of work that I've got to do, and then I'll start properly then when I'm packing my bags and, you know, helmets and what I need to bring, and trying to sort stuff, you know, like I've got to get shirts and stuff printed, goggles and stuff, lenses, all little things that people don't ever see. You know, it's going to take a good 2 or 3 days to do all that. So,
As the internet's working,
David Campbell on now.
Yeah, can you read that? Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah,
that was ace. David did it, I think, as well, didn't he? But that Motor One event at Donington, it was brilliant when they had that road race and supermoto, motocross trials. Another event really that you know, brought everyone together. You got all your road races, your trials riders and stuff, and you all have a good end of year blast. It was ace, and you don't see stuff like that anymore. No. I done one in France I won it in 2014, I think it was. I did 2 in France, won it in 2014. But that was the same sort of thing. MotoGP guys there, World Trials guys, but absolutely brilliant.
You won the road racing bit, did you, of that as well?
No, I didn't win the road race, and there was like 10 of them buggers. All nuts, but no, it was good. It's just a good crack, you know, because you could see there was. I remember who was it? Billy McKenzie. Billy went home the first one because I think Carl Harris passed him and tapped him on the shoulder going down Craner Curves, and Billy absolutely fucking crapped himself. So he was like, "I'm not having that," and he went home. And then it was it Robbie Allen, Scottish, you know, Scottish lad, Robbie Allen. It was one of the, I'm sure it was Robbie. and he was going like an absolute lunatic in the road racing. Like, he was up with Sykesy and flipping Crutchlow and everyone, and he must have been 50 then, and he was honestly, and then he come off both races. He had a massive crash. I seen him coming off in the second race, and the bike was cartwheeling, and I thought, oh dear, and it was him. And yeah, but fair dues, he was having a bloody go. But just good seeing it and watching your Crutchlows and your likes on the trials bikes. That was the best entertainment.
I suppose things like that don't happen anymore because everybody's under contract and they don't want to get hurt.
Well, even then there was a little bit, but you think, there's a few trying to cheat riding their own bikes and stuff in the supermoto, but they got smoked anyway, so it didn't matter. But yeah, you always have a few. Oh, I can't do it because of tire sponsor and everything. That's where even the sponsors should just, it's a fun event. It's an event everyone get together and turn a blind eye to it, don't you? But I don't know if it'll ever happen again. I hope it does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Well, on that note, David, like I say, we've been on nearly an hour and a half, and I expect you want to get to your tea, your wife, and your kids, etc.
Yeah, get back to the madhouse.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. And
cheers, Dave.
Yeah, good luck. And
I'll be right.
Fly the flag and make sure you come back safe and sound.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Come back above ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we have been on, and you went out a few times. We gave this a punt, obviously not a punt, a shout.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah, it's one of them that I've obviously we're halfway there on the old fun thing, and just need to get as much as I can in. Really try and get as close to 85 as I can, and but it's just too good an opportunity now. I need to just go and do it and worry about it later.
But yeah, like I said, I just quickly gone on your GoFund page, and we were saying instead of buying a Costa coffee in the morning, give it to David. Oh, it's gone, but give it to David. But anyway, he's missed that. Ah, the internet.
That was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I say, Dave, there's been lots of people donating, so I think it might
really?
People that have been watching this show. So for the people that have donated while we've been on air, doesn't matter what amount David said. He's really appreciative of it.
The reason I was asking David about the MBE is I thought you might be able to write into the Queen for me.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah. Did he mention that, David? When he I don't have to call you Kinger tonight. I should have said you're Kinger tonight, and he's David. But yeah, did he mention that when he said, "Oh, can I ride at Farley Castle and I'm MBE?" And then you said, "Let me think about it." If you're MBE,
now to be fair, I'd spoken to David years and years and years ago, probably 8 or 9 years ago, about coming to Farley, which I think was before the MBE thing, because he was just obviously I'd seen his brother was into the twin shock stuff, so you could obviously David is going to be like his brother, and I just thought it was a sort of something he would enjoy doing, and I think he would really do well there. I think especially on the bike he's talking about, Stuart Bland knows how to put a winning bike together. Stuart was factory Ducati team manager up until last year. So Stuart knows a thing or two, and those bikes that he builds are proper special. They're like an air-cooled. They're a bit of a hybrid, but they're like the bike that HRC or Honda never built for us back in the early 80s. A twin shock full 500.
Yeah, it'd be. I don't know what group it'd be in, but
well, if they're talking about putting a Manx team in, they'd be in the team race.
Yeah, I wonder if if he'd ride in an individual because I'd like to see how obviously you want to see him up against the sort of top boys, say Mike Brown or whatever.
The trouble with that, Adam, is the COVID thing. Is because we're running a year late, as it were. All the entries for that sort of stuff has already gone. They went 10 months ago. So it's just a few spaces that we hold back for the special guys. because at the end of the day, that's what Farley is about, bringing all the disciplines together. So I think it's more than likely that the Twin Shock team thing will be the main focus rather than an individual class.
Yeah. I would imagine if he's going to put a Manx team together, none of them are going to be slouches.
No, absolutely not. No, I don't know how old David's brother is, but I guess he must be in his 50s now. So I don't know whether he'd be in the team, but they're not going to be short of some guys, are they?
Yeah,
plenty to pick from.
Be a watch this space, as it were.
Yeah, but I'd like to, coming back to the Dakar thing, I'd really like to. I loved all that, when riders put up that I'm just getting to the airport, which is like a week before the event, and you think, crikey, some commitment they're putting into doing this. I love all that nonsense, and just seeing them going and signing up and just painting a picture for us, what you don't normally get to see.
I'm exactly the same. Like, I like to build up any sporting occasion. I like to build up, race, and then afterwards the chat about it.
Yeah, like that Formula One. When they walk up and down the paddock, that half hour before is pure gold, isn't it? I don't know if they still do it.
Yeah,
but that sort of stuff always gets my interest. But by the look of it, he's still got a few bikes there.
Yeah. And like I say, there's a fair few people that have donated while we've been on air. So
that's brilliant. Well done.
Good. Well done. And hopefully it'll bring Vets MXDN motocross in general to a bigger audience, enduro to a bigger audience.
So who have you got lined up for us next, Adam?
Jeff Ward.
Who?
Jeff Ward's next, hopefully.
I'm joking.
No, what? No. That's who we got lined up next.
Really?
Yeah, he messaged me. He messaged me today saying, he's up for it. So I just gave him my details. I think it helps when you've done Roger DeCosta, Brad Lackey, pretty much the gods of yesteryear, and obviously Stefan Everts, Jeff Leask. We, for people that are watching, we're not professionals. We just like try and entertain people when there's nothing on the TV.
Yeah. And almost English.
Yeah. Jeff was born in Scotland, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's Scottish.
Yeah. I when I was over there last year, it was this time last year, I actually went to his house, and he lives in this amazing I can't remember what the place was called, but it's seafront property. It's just all glass. It's an absolute amazing place. But in that house, there was not one piece of motocross memorabilia. Not one. All there was when you walked in, there was one of his helmets from when he did the not Formula One, the American.
Yeah, the truck. Was it IndyCar? Wasn't it?
There was just one helmet there. But if you didn't know, you'd have never known he was anything to do with motocross.
Because of course, that's another person we've done was Mark Blundell, the Formula One driver, and he said he raced against him in IndyCar, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and
still as absolutely fit as a fiddle.
Yeah. Well, Dave, on that note, I'll let you get to your tea as well.
I've had it. No,
you've had it.
Yeah, no, we're early one.
That's a long one for us, an hour and a half tonight.
Yeah, no, that was a really good one. David is a very, very interesting, normal bloke, isn't he? And I really hope he does well. And he's a real good ambassador for what we do.
Yeah, definitely.
For motorbikes in general, isn't he? He's a brilliant guy.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Cheers, Adam.
Cheers, Dave. See you on the Jeff Ward one. I'll let you know when the date is. At most part, I would imagine now most of these interviews that we've been doing will be after Christmas. And like I say, I've been in touch with Andre Malherbe, and he said, give me a call in the new year.
Who's Lee got lined up? Because he does one on Wednesdays, doesn't he? Who's he got lined up this week?
He's got Thursday night. Lee's doing a great speedway rider called Pierre Johnson.
Okay.
And he sadly had an accident and was paralysed, but he was world champion. Road for Reading races. And they're really interesting, actually, some of the speedway ones. Oh, well, I like any motorsport, you know. And
yeah, no, funny if I watched your the ones you did with the Dire Straits guy.
Yeah,
that was interesting.
Yeah.
It was because you're right. I mean, I didn't know you're obviously quite a musician, aren't you? Yeah,
I mean,
to know those sort of people, they obviously hold you in quite high regard.
Yeah, I try my best. I don't know.
Tell everybody what you do.
Oh, I just do a bit of do a bit of singing, and cut a long story short, I've got a pretty much world-class bunch of guys that back me, like the saxophone player from Dire Straits, and God, who else? Trumpet player from Van Morrison's band, he was his MD, and drummers who've played for Elton John, and yeah, it's quite a good band, bunch of guys. But
what's the band called?
The Adam Winslet Band, of course. Oh dear. But yeah, hope on a good note, we'll leave on a nice note that hopefully with this vaccine, by September next year, the world will be sorted out a bit, hopefully. So
it's got to go the right way, hasn't it? All the signs looking like September might be a normal-ish month.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
But don't forget, though, it happens a lot before that. You know, decisions have got to be made May, June time. So yeah, nothing's a given yet. Because
funnily enough, the Isle of Man next year has been cancelled.
Yeah, and that's normally is it May?
It's May, yeah. But that's obviously that's like 50,000 people come to the island. They must be struggling over there, like, because it's like their motor racing is what keeps that island going, I would say.
You've been before, have you?
I've been a few times. Yeah, it's a beautiful island, actually. There's lots to see and do over there.
The only thing that's ever put me off about going is going on that bloody ferry. I don't like boats at the best of times. I don't think it's a very big one, is it?
No, I've always flown over there. Fly from Gatwick for about, I think most of the time it was about sort of 60 quid or something.
Yeah, but you can't take your. But I guess half the fun is having your own bike over there.
It is. If I haven't got a bike license, but Craig Prattley, who's rode at your meeting, I know he goes over and he keeps his. They go in with a van. This is for something if you ever want to go, people. Take a van over in May, beginning of May, when it's quite cheap on the ferry. All your bikes in. Store them at David's brother's house. He's got these lockups that you can put your bikes in, and then drive the van back. Fly over. I know it sounds a bit long-winded, but it's a lot easier way of doing it because it's almost impossible to get a ferry unless you book however many years it is in advance.
Yeah, we were doing that sort of stuff 20 years ago in Spain, going to vintage races in Spain. We'd send a van down with the bikes and then fly down. It's not as hard as you think.
No, that's it. That's what they do. They just send the bikes over, leave them at David's brother's house. They're all locked up, secure, and then fly over, ride the bikes round, plane back, van, bikes back. Yeah.
Right, we better go.
Yeah. All the best, Dave.
I'll catch you later.
Cheers. Bye. Well, that was it. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'll play you out with a bit of a. Let's watch a bit of motocross for on the way. Let's finish how we started. In case you missed how we started, this is how we're going to finish. Thanks for watching, everybody. Great guy, David Knight. See you on the next one.